Tappei has just released Arc 7 Chapter 72, and this video will be a summary of the chapter. I highly recommend you check out my Arc 7 Chapter 71 summary. Anyways, let's begin. The sheet hanging outside of Gustav's office was an insurance policy. During the meeting with Gustav and his emissaries, it took Subaru and Hyen quite a bit of trial and error to get to the heart of the visit of Todd and Arachia. They needed to know the blind spots, what to say, and how to escape. He had to deceive Todd and Arachia. They weren't cartoon characters, so they had to pull out all of the stops. Wise had the stool for time. Tanza provided strong smelling herbs. Adora to gather people to cause a commotion. For those wondering what Subaru is sort of thinking here, is that in the last chapter, Subaru and Hyen died multiple times, but it isn't explicitly stated in the chapter. What Tappei did was he put these breaks, like he would put like a series of X's, and the chapter would just continue. And every time Tappei puts these series of X's, it implies that Subaru and Hyen got caught at that point and died. And then for the next attempt, Subaru found the solution. As Hyen runs away, he asks Subaru what to do, and Subaru says that he is thinking. We see that Hyen ran down the wall with the help of the sheet that was hanging outside of the window. They landed in the courtyard, and in Subaru's hand, he held the spell tool. It was a black ball, which was the size of a golf ball. So in my last video, I called it a spell book. It's only one thing, which is a spell tool, which is like a black orb. The second Todd placed the spell tool down on the table, Subaru acted immediately and grabbed it. Either way, Subaru says that they should hide. The only choices were to run or hide. However, death was at the end of each choice, so therefore it's better to just hide and have a better grasp of the future. They then dive into a bush, and Hyen activates his mimicry. Shortly after, Arachia lands in the courtyard with relative ease. As Arachia scanned the courtyard, Subaru knew that he couldn't die. It was a more serious reason due to the state of Natsuki Subaru. By the way, this is referring to the fact that at this point in time, when Subaru is returning by death, he's losing time every time he returns by death. Subaru wanted Arachia to turn around, but she actually walked towards the bush that Subaru was in. Subaru wondered what gave him away. Was it his breath? Did she feel a presence? Or maybe it's an aura that only the strong can perceive. However, before Arachia reached Subaru and Hyen, there was a muttering of swordsmen arriving in the courtyard, drawn there by the explosion in Gustav's office. Of course, their arrival was a coincidence, and interrogating them would yield no information about Subaru's location. However, someone shouted from above, "Listen!" Everyone looked up at the owner of the voice, Todd. Todd then explained that the governor, Gustav, was killed by a black-haired kid and a grey lizard, and that Arachia will be acting as the governor of the island. Todd reiterates to kill the kid and the grey lizard, or else they will all die by the curse. And Todd is directing this at the guards, it seems. Gustav's death was now being rubbed in Hyen and Subaru's face. There would be no investigation or anything. If they were caught, they would be killed. Todd states to let the sparker begin. The swordsmen ask if Arachia knows anything about Gustav's death, and Arachia apologizes and says that she was told. Immediately she raised her right hand, killing swordsmen as their heads exploded. As more people congregate, Arachia kills them. The massacre on the island has begun, but through a different method this time. And this is Todd's backup plan, as he indicates to Arachia to kill everyone. Arachia continues to kill swordsmen at random. Of course, they die instantly, and they can't do anything against her. Besides Arachia, the guards are a nuisance. since they believe Todd when he says that Arachia is acting as the new administrator of the island. Not only that, the gods are roaming the island with the witch beasts which are used in the gladiator arena. And since the witch beasts have no idea what Subaru and Hyen look like, they just attack discriminately, killing everyone. And remember, for those wondering, the witch beasts have broken horns and the gods can control them. Subaru realized that the gods looked weird. They were impatient and irritated. Subaru remembers that when the curse was activated, the gods died also, so they were most likely obeying orders since they didn't want to die to the curse. Arachia, the gods, the witch beasts were all on the island, and up above Todd was using them like pawns. Because of the politics of the island, Subaru doesn't know whether the other swordsmen are on his side. Some will side with him, others could sell him out. Therefore, it's best to think of all of them as enemies. It has happened, a massacre on the island. Subaru ran to the medical room with the old man, but found that the old man was dead. Nothing but skin and bones, and a dead witch beast was present in the room also. We see that Tanza was in the room, and she must have been the person that killed the witch beast. But she was too late to save the old man, and this was the old man that gave Subaru the poison pill. Hyen was also in the room as he was with Subaru. After all, if it wasn't for Hyen, Subaru could never have reached this room. We see that Idora and Wise are also present. So their Sparker group are all together and everyone is alive, which is a miracle. Subaru gets asked if it's true that he killed Gustav, and Subaru denies it, saying that Arachia did it, but Subaru corrects himself by saying that it was Todd using Arachia. Subaru gets asked on who Todd is, and Subaru says Todd is scarier than a Sin Archbishop. At least deep down, that's what Subaru thinks. Sin Archbishops were terrible, but compared to Todd, they were cute. No, scum was scum no matter what you compared it to. Either way, Subaru conveyed the danger to the group. Subaru gets told not to make similes about Sin Archbishops, and Subaru says that he bumps into them all the time, which confuses his group. The group discuss their next step, potentially using the drawbridge to escape, but of course they don't have the key and they'll get shot at. However, staying means that they'll get caught by the 9 Divine General, so there's no way to get out. However, Subaru thinks so many people died and will remain dead if Subaru doesn't do something. That was unbearable for Subaru. Even if he obtained the spell tool, it was not for Subaru to decide that this was the best way forward. That isn't the path for the son of Kenichi. Subaru thinks, and Subaru gets called out to stop hiding the truth. We see that this is Hyen, and Subaru is confused about what he is hiding. We see that Wise is trying to stop Hyen, but he presses on and Subaru is confused. And Hyen asks about Subaru's father. Subaru is confused and says that his father is a businessman, but Subaru gets called out, and Hyen states that they know that Subaru is the illegitimate son of the Emperor. Subaru is fully confused now, but Hyen states that the illegitimate son of the Emperor is in Vollachia, and Adora followed up by saying, "It's you, isn't it?" Wise follows up by saying that he knows what Subaru is and will help him regardless. Subaru asks why he would be the child of the Emperor, and he gets told that his leadership skills and survival skills is what made them overcome Sparker. Of course, Subaru's actions did defy fate, but he didn't expect it to lead to such a misunderstanding. Subaru then asks Tanza for help, but Tanza states that she has seen it with her own eyes. Of course, Tanza was in Chaos Flame. Subaru was a child at the time, and Abel was wearing a silly mask, and if Tanza was following Yona, it's obvious that she knew of Abel's identity. Not only that, Tanza states that Subaru's mother was the dark-haired woman that was with the Emperor. Subaru then asks why the illegitimate son is such a hot topic, and Adora explains that there's apparently a rebellion against the Emperor, and the leader of the rebellion is the illegitimate son of the Emperor. Subaru's logic made sense of the situation. It was a power struggle between a father and son. However, the real truth was that it was a battle between a real and fake emperor. Subaru wonders who made up this story of a father and son having a climactic battle off the throne. Before realizing it and stating, "That bastard," Subaru understood it was a plan made by Abel to not only cause civil unrest, but also to find and locate Subaru after he was whisked away from Chaos Flame. The group looked at Subaru, and Subaru looked at them and decided what to do next. The scene changed. Todd stroked his chin as the wind changed direction. He muttered that it was a nasty feeling. Gustav was dead and replaced with Arachia. She alone would be enough to kill everyone on the island. The 9 divine generals did not think for themselves and can be controlled, and they have immense power. Arachia could burn the entire island, but she was told not to do it lest Todd get in trouble. Todd states he didn't want to be here. He was bitter that all of his plans went to waste. The reason why Todd saved Arachia was so that he could take her to the capital and then she could get reassigned somewhere else. However, the issue was that while she was reassigned elsewhere, Todd was made her subordinate. This was due to one lie that Todd told Arachia. Todd then mutters that Jamal is a pain in the arse, even when he's dead. Todd's lie caused this situation to occur. Arachia no doubt believes that Todd wants to avenge his friend Jamal. It was a lie that he told to win her over to his side. And now he can't take back that lie. After all, he doesn't know what will make her turn on him as an enemy. As a result, he was made a subordinate of Arachia, and he was currently the pawn of the Prime Minister and sent to the island of Gunnenhive. The Prime Minister stated that Gustav could solve the issue of the conflict in the island easily, but Todd knew that it was a lie. There was no such thing as an easy job. That's why he prepared. Most things can be handled with preparation. Only unfortunate accidents cannot be avoided. Therefore, it's best to minimize risk to avoid those accidents from ever happening. And yet, an accident happened. A small child. Todd mutters that he knows how to kill a superior. As Todd continues to think, he realizes he never thought about killing a child. Either way, Todd used the island, the swordsman, the guards, the witch beasts, and Arachia to corner the child. However, even with all of that, Todd knows there's no such thing as being perfect. Todd walks down the corridor littered with corpses as he pays no mind to dead people. Todd gets called out by one of the guards, and Todd explains that the swordsmen on the island were planning an uprising, and he then asks the guard if they could tell enemy from ally. The guards with him fall silent, and we see that there are 2 guards which are following Todd around, most likely due to not wanting to be punished by the curse rule. Todd reminds the guards that if they're working on the island, that they are no different from the swordsmen, but reminds them that their uniform is their safety, and he tells them to chew on that information. Todd then pats one of the young guards on the shoulder. After all, that's all there is to it. The guards on the island are all Imperial soldiers who could have been swordsmen. The only separation is the uniform, a place of exile for those that disobey orders, half-human individuals. Todd mutters that he doesn't care anyway, and states that he doesn't care what goes on with a war or rebellion or anything like that. He accepts it, but states not to get in the way of him and Katya's peace. For those wondering, Katya is Todd's fiancée. The battles of Guaral and the battle in Chaos Flame that he heard about are just annoying noise to him. If the top of the empire changes due to the rebellion for the better, then so be it. If it doesn't, then so be it. As long as nothing happens to his life, he can live with Katya in peace, the woman he loves. However, this brought back a bad memory, the poster child of war. If he's in a position to help with the rebels and orchestrate a rebellion of the Empire, then a disaster will spread. However, if that's the case, then Todd will need to escape with Katya in tow. However, mid-thought, someone calls out to him, "Todd Fang!" Todd turns around and sees a small boy and asks what the hell the boy is thinking. Todd then asks why the boy showed his face here, before stating that it's not as if the kid is invincible since he has some friends with him. Todd looks at the group of people with Subaru, a bald man with tattoos, a lizard guy, a normal human, and a deer girl. Todd knew that they were amateurs and knew that the deer girl and the old man might pose an issue. Subaru then tells Todd to give up and get Arakia to stop. Todd feigned interest whilst he gave a silent hand signal to the guards at his side. They had witch beasts with them, which were starting to move into position. Todd asks Subaru what he wants, and Subaru states that he has the spell tool that governs the island. The guards react to this. After all, they're only following Todd due to the potential of being killed by the curse, but Subaru states that he has the curse rule, so the guards are wavering. But Todd states that Subaru is bluffing, but Subaru then pulls out the black spell tool from his shirt. Todd feigns ignorance and tells Subaru to activate it then. Despite that, the guards shouted to not activate it, and Todd states that they shouldn't fall for the boy's bluff. After all, who should they believe? A random boy or someone from the capital? The reaction was weird from the guards. Todd wondered why the guards were acting so strange at the boy's words. Todd then asked what's wrong with the young boy, but Tanza calls Todd a rude man and explains that the young boy is in fact the illegitimate son of the Emperor, Vincent Vollachia. The dear girl said this in such an exaggerated manner and with such bravado. Todd thought about it. A sensible Imperial soldier would dismiss the rumour and even laugh at it. However, if they truly were the illegitimate child of the Emperor, it would be trouble. But the idea that the child was here, on the island, was just so ridiculous to contemplate. But Todd realizes that the reason why the guards reacted the way they did was because they actually believed that the boy was the son of the Emperor. Tanza was about to say something, but Todd realized the situation was getting bad, and he immediately moved, swinging his axe, cleaving the head off one of the guards at his side, and he spun around, crushing the skull of the second guard, killing both of them immediately. Todd then kicked the guard's decapitated head towards Subaru and the rest of the group. The eagle witch beast, which was nearby, then lunged at the decapitated head, consuming Subaru and his group in its destruction. And with that, the chapter ends. Well, that was super long. I really like Todd point of view chapters. So we actually see that he actually lied about wanting to avenge Jamal. What's really funny is that we can see that Todd doesn't care about anything. All he wants to do is spend time with his wife. His fiancée Katya. So it's really interesting that everything Todd is doing is just so he could go back to his waifu. Which, again, Todd's the best character in Arc 7.